Honorable Mayor and City Council, as you are well aware, the City of Moore Park Historic Downtown Commercial District is a quaint shopping area anchored by High Street. Unfortunately, this area has been largely neglected by the development community in favor of big box and strip commercial centers along the nearby major highway. As a result, an area which should be the heart of the city has become an afterthought for gathering, shopping, dining, and entertainment. Efforts and plans have been made in fits and starts to create a model for restoration and renovation of this area. One tool cities use is that of a specific plan, which is a tool for the systematic implementation of the general plan, effectively establishing a link between implementing policies of the general plan and the individual development proposals in a defined area. A specific plan, created to emphasize economic strength, sustainability, and resiliency, should be created as a guiding document, with input from the community, elected and appointed officials, and practitioners. Staff has prepared this presentation to request direction and funding for preparation of a historic core specific plan. This presentation is intended to support the following recommendations. Direct staff to proceed with preparation of the draft specific plan to be presented to the City Council for consideration within 6 months, and authorize a budget appropriation of $70,000 for preparation of the draft specific plan. The Moore Park Historic Core Specific Plan will be designed to emphasize architectural integrity, economic strength, sustainability, and resiliency. Upon completion of the draft document, it will be presented to this body for their consideration and adoption, whereupon it will be considered the final adopted specific plan. The plan should be created as a guiding document with input from the community, elected and appointed officials, and practitioners. This project would be deemed a success upon completion of an understandable and relatable draft-specific plan presented to the City Council for their consideration, on time and under budget. Whether or not the City Council adopts the plan as presented is not a measure of success of this project. Adoption of the plan is the prerogative of the City Council. Specific plans are prepared under the bright light of the public eye. They are created with input from stakeholders, including affected property owners, elected officials, appointed officials, and professional staff. But, above all, the public at large can contribute input. As mentioned previously, adoption of the specific plan by the City Council is not the ultimate measure of success of this project. If the project moves forward per the staff recommendation, the staff would ultimately consider adoption. Adoption would mean all stakeholders have been satisfied to one degree or another and conflicts have been resolved. Failure to adopt would mean the City Council considered all points of view, evaluated the project, and determined this plan is not appropriate at this time. The process itself would still be considered a success upon presentation to the City Council for their consideration. There are several assumptions which must be considered during the project. The draft-specific plan will require the input of key stakeholders. A great deal of diplomacy and team building will be required to manage conflict resolution. Too much compromise would result in an ineffective document. The completed draft-specific plan must be predictable and understandable. Jargon and complicated standards must be avoided. Thorough research must take place. Upon adoption, the specific plan will be the guiding document for development of Moore Park's historic core. Alternative design plans must be assessed at various stages of preparation of the specific plan. The specific plan is not intended to provide precise architectural designs and specific uses of each new structure. It is intended to provide guidelines for orderly development within the historic core. The specific plan in and of itself will not be able to spur improvement in the historic core. Public and private investment will be necessary for this to occur. There are two categories of deliverables for this project. The first is project management related deliverables, which are internal. This includes a project charter, scope statement, a work breakdown structure, and a risk assessment mitigation plan. These products are designed to give the project itself boundaries and guidelines. The second category is product-related deliverables. These products can be considered appendices to the specific plan itself. They are the building blocks for the creation and presentation of the specific plan. They include a stakeholder survey. Stakeholders will be identified and surveyed to determine their short and long-term needs and desires. Workshops and design charrettes will be conducted to gain insight. A SWOT analysis, a study of the Moorpark Historic Core's internal strengths and weaknesses and external opportunities and strengths will be conducted and analyzed. The result of this analysis will be incorporated into the draft specific plan. A land use and architecture survey. A survey of existing land uses for each lot within the historic core will be prepared. For parcels with buildings, the architectural style and significance will be identified and cataloged. Public spaces and improvements will be part of this survey. Reporting. Several status reports seeking insight from the City Council and Planning Commission will be prepared. An initial report to the City Council is prepared requesting authorization of preparation of the specific plan, including allocation of funds from the city's general fund. That is this specific report. A mid-project status report will be provided to the City Council to provide the opportunity to adjust and revise the direction of the specific plan if necessary. The Planning Commission is the recommendatory body to the City Council. As such, the final draft of the specific plan will be presented to the Planning Commission for their input and recommendation to the City Council. Ultimately, a final report will be prepared and presented to the City Council, providing a recommendation for final approval and adoption of the specific plan. The final deliverable is the draft specific plan itself. There will likely be several iterations of the draft specific plan submitted to stakeholders for their input. When no further productive insight is received, a final draft specific plan will be prepared, ready for presentation to the City Council. The specific plan will include architectural and design guidelines for private development and streetscape and landscape planning for public spaces. The specific plan will be based on form-based planning concepts versus land use or Euclidean planning concepts. This schedule of deliverables shows how the timing and preparation of each task and deliverable are related. It can be seen that there is much overlap. However, if everything is kept within the proposed ranges, the project should be completed within 6 months, approximately 120 days. Project completion means a presentation for consideration of approval to the City Council. The overall budget for this project is approximately $70,000. About $36,000 consists of the reallocation of existing staff time for the benefit of this project and is money which would be expended regardless. Outside consultants will cost $20,000 and other direct costs would be approximately $4,000. A $10,000 contingency is built in. There are several risks associated with completion of a successful project. These include the risk of the project not being completed within 6 months, the risk of exceeding the $70,000 budget, the risk of developing a plan which is not understandable and relatable, and the risk of stakeholder opposition. There are ways to minimize the aforementioned risks. These include minimizing diversion of resources by prioritizing this project over others, monitoring and revisiting the budget and expenses frequently, developing a clear project mission, and providing a plan in line with stakeholder values. The Historic Core Specific Plan, developed in line with stakeholder values, can result in development of a vibrant, sustainable, and resilient downtown. The plan must be predictable and understandable while providing sufficient flexibility for future market changes. Again, staff is recommending that the City Council direct staff to proceed with preparation of a draft specific plan to be presented to the City Council for consideration within 6 months And further, that the City Council authorize a budget appropriation of $70,000 for preparation of said draft specific plan.